Okay, as you have seen the title, just recently I got scammed for the first time in my life. It's not a lot of money, but stuff like this just made you wish that you could go back in time and change something and the whole story will be different. But just made you wonder about a lot of things. Alright, so let me start from the very beginning. So about 3 months ago, my boss asked me to find a sign company to do our signs for our new office. So I did some research online and made some phone calls. So finally I found this sign company, and this guy came over to our office and we started to talk about the price. So his offer is a lot cheaper than some other sign companies. That should be my first sign. Like if some guy offers a dramatic difference from other companies, that you should be careful. But I didn't. Oh, by the way, these are all Chinese sign companies. Usually they offer a lot cheaper than other companies, and it's easier for me to communicate with them since you need to describe what you want from the sign and all the detailed information. And English is not my first language, and it's still easier for me to communicate with Chinese. So then he said usually it takes about 2 to 3 months for the sign to be done, because we also need to get a permit from City Hall. And by the way, he said, he can help us to run to the City Hall. We just need to pay him a little bit labor fee. So then I discussed with my boss and we finally decided, okay, we're going to let him to run to the City Hall for us as well. Okay, so on that day, we paid him half of the sign fee, which is about $2,000. And then we asked him if he can help us put our old indoor sign to the wall for free, since we choose him to do our sign. So we wonder if he can help us do that for free. He said, sure. So he took our old sign back, and 2 days later he came with his worker and helped us put our sign back on the wall, which by the way he did a very good job, and we're all very satisfied with how that turned out, exactly like before. And this time he said, well, I plan to go to City Hall tomorrow to do the permit thing, and basically meant we need to give him the money for him to pay for the City Hall. So we give him another check on that day for the permit. At this point, I don't have his address, I don't have a copy of his ID, I don't even have a picture of him. All I got is a damn phone number, and I already gave him 2 checks. How stupid I am. I used to think when people got scammed or fraud, it's because they're not careful enough and then it's basically their own fault. Well, this is just proved my point. So people like him is the reason we lost trust for one another in this world. Anyway, a little side story. Remember I mentioned this guy came with his worker on the second day and helped us install the indoor sign on the wall? So this worker doesn't speak any Chinese. I think he's Mexican because I heard him talking to his coworker in Spanish. That day, I asked him if he can help us to install the projector screen to the wall. And he said, yeah, okay. So we paid him afterwards, and then I got his contact information just in case we need other things done in the office, so I have his number. So a few days later, my boss asked me, can you contact that guy and ask him to help us install the projector to the ceiling? So I contacted him, and then he came over, did a very good job, and then we paid him. So this is a side story. Just remember, I have this guy's contact information. Okay, so let's go back to our main storyline. So the company I worked for just moved to this new location and everything's super busy, so I kind of forgot about the sign thing. About last month, so I called this guy to ask about the sign, like when can we have it and stuff like that, and he picked up his phone. I'm still surprised. Why does he pick up his phone? I already gave him 2 checks, right? He picked up and he said, oh, the sign is almost ready. I'm in San Francisco right now, and next week we'll go to your office to install it. I said, okay. I just can't believe I didn't call City Hall to confirm the permit before I called him. If I called City Hall and the City Hall, of course, didn't get any permit because he didn't go, and I will know he's a fraud, and then I probably can call him and then trick him to come to the office and call the police. Something like stuff like this. I just wish I can be more careful, but I wasn't careful. So about 2 weeks later, I tried to call this guy again because he said he's coming this week to install the sign, which he didn't. So I just called to check if he's coming or not. Guess what? He didn't pick up. Of course he didn't pick up. So I texted him, no answer. Emailed him, no answer. And finally, I decided to call City Hall just to check, right? And then City Hall said, no, we didn't get anything under the name of your company. No permit at all. I even used other people's phone to call, but still no answer. Then I remember I have that worker's phone number. Remember the side story, that worker? So I called this worker, his phone, and then he answered. I said, oh, do you remember that guy like you came with? He said, yeah. I said, do you know him very well? He said, oh, I know him like for 10 years, and he kind of disappeared for a few years and recently just came to him for some work. And then I said, do you have his address? He said, no. So nothing. All he got is also his phone number. He said, oh, he usually come to me. I don't really look for him. So I said, okay. At this point, I don't know if they're on the same team or not, so I just leave it like that. So this week, I still kept calling this guy, and of course, he didn't answer at all. So I basically decided to go to the police. And again, I called this worker the second time. And just to see if he sees him since the last time I called him, and guess what? He didn't pick up this time. And then so I changed another phone number to call him again. He picked up. He said, oh, he came like 2 days ago, and then I told him that you're looking for him, so he said he will contact you. Contact me, right? Contact me, my... So later that day, I went down to the police station, and the police said, do you know his address? I said, no. I said, I was hoping that you guys can help me to find him. And the police said, well, if you can't even find him, how can you expect us to find him? So okay. Then the police suggests, well, we can find a lawyer and then we can kind of take him to court. Well, that may cost even more than we have lost, right? This is probably the reason that this guy can get away with it, because it's not a huge amount of money and it's not worth to find a lawyer, and it's nothing we can do about it. All I know is his legal name, because the checks we wrote to are to that name. I'm just going to expose his name right now. I'm going to say it right here. So his name is Mickey Wu, W. Mickey Wu. So he's like a Chinese guy in his 40s or 50s, and his phone number is 626-429-6000. If you have any Chinese friends or any, but he speaks English, so I don't think he's only scamming the Chinese community. I think he's like, this is not his first time. I don't think so. Anyone who is watching this have any ideas, or if you are a police officer, or if you are a lawyer, or if you're an FBI agent, that even better. Just give me some ideas, or even help me track him down, or give me his address, anything. I just can't believe he's just out there and scamming some other innocent people and get away with it. I'm sure I'm not the first person. Alright, so please learn from my mistakes and protect yourself and be smart. I will see you guys in my next video. And please help spread his name and then to warn other people just in case.